I'm George Mariner Mole, Artistic Director of the Discovery Orchestra, hoping again that by now you have a well-developed case of Molearia. That is to say, you love noticing detail in music. And hopefully this is increasing the pleasure you receive from all your music listening, from classical to jazz to pop. Hey, maybe you're even finding music in some television commercials more interesting. Over the course of musical history, in our Western European musical system, that's as opposed to, let's say, the indigenous musical systems of the Indian subcontinent or of China, composers began to use what we call chord progressions as part of their musical language. Chord progressions, as we know them, began appearing during the Renaissance, although some composers were just so happy to have discovered tonality, translation, our major and minor keys, as opposed to modality, remember that we discussed back in Discovery Chat number 4, that they were content to just rock back and forth, essentially between two chords. Now remember, a chord is anytime we play more than one sound at a time. In this case, I'll be playing many more than that. But let's rock back and forth between these two chords. Renaissance composers wrote tons of music that sounded like that. Now, by the time we get into the late 1600s and early 1700s, common chord progressions are well established. And one of the most common progressions that we have is something that, as musicians, we call 1-4-1-5-1. Well, what does that mean? Let's do a little backpedaling. The 7 steps of the scale have both number designations and name designations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 steps. And musicians call them also tonic, supertonic, mediant, subdominant, dominant, submediant, and leading tone. Now, doesn't 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sound a lot easier? I think so. Furthermore, we can build chords on each of the scale steps. The 1 chord, the 2 chord, the 3 chord, the 4 chord, the 5 chord, the 6 chord, and the 7 chord. Again, musicians use the other names: the tonic chord, the supertonic chord, the mediant chord, the subdominant chord, the dominant chord, the submediant chord, and the leading tone chord. And these chords have individual characteristics, which we'll save for another chat to discuss. But let's get back to good old 1-4-1-5-1. That's the chord progression of the 1 chord to the 4 chord, to the 1 chord, to the 5 chord, and back to the 1 chord. Now, doesn't it feel like we're progressing somewhere? These progressions became the building blocks of what we call here the word tonality, again, is what comes to mind. These progressions almost define tonality. Can you imagine how excited composers must have been when they realized they could create this sensation of progression from here to here, to here, back to here, and then back to here? Once again, the Ganze Megillah, as we say in Yiddish. Composers became very inventive in their quest to exploit this aspect of the musical element harmony, or simultaneity in music. This week, listen for chord progressions. Hymns are a great place to start.